She'd never reached the church in time to meet with Mrs. Smith. The woman had only agreed because Mia had promised to keep her identity a secret, and Mia feared that if she was late, the woman might be too frightened to stay. Taking up the candle, Mia opened the door slowly and listened. The deafening silence assured her that the house was finally at rest. Her parents were blessedly people of the clock. They kept their hours as a matter of serious consideration. Lyman Stanley was known to say that a man could not run a business or family without strict adherence to the time, and because of such a belief he was now in bed, most likely fast asleep, despite the fact that there was still a dusky glow of sunset in the summer skies. Mia tiptoed across the highly polished oak floors. The candlelight reflected the disapproving stares of ancient ancestors whose portraits lined the vast hall. Great-grandfather Stanley seemed particularly perturbed this evening, Mia thought, as she caught his narrowed eyes and tight expression. "I'm doing this for a good cause," she told him, as if admonishing a child. The candle flickered, and she almost imagined the old gentleman had offered an exasperated sigh. It did nothing to deter Mia. Knowing she'd be less likely heard exiting the drawing-room door to the gardens, Mia carefully pushed back the extravagant folds of her mother's lace curtains and unlatched the French doors. They didn't make so much as a creak, but the rush of the air blew out her candle and instantly left Mia in darkness. Outside the light was fading fast, and while the moon seemed to offer some assistance, Mia paused to decide whether she should take a lantern. "I should have to go to the kitchen if I want one, and risk making enough noise to raise the dead. That definitely won't do," she argued in a whisper. And it really wasn't so very far to the church. There were gaslights along some of the streets, so she wouldn't have to be in pitch black the entire time. And if I don't hurry, Mrs. Smith will be gone, and all of this will be for naught. That settled the matter, and Mia left all thoughts of a lantern behind as she closed the door. The warm smells of the summer air assaulted her as Mia stepped into the garden. The sweet scent of her mother's roses mingled with honeysuckle, and a dozen other flowers rose up to inspire Mia's senses. The garden, sheltered by large bender oaks and buckeye trees, was her mother's delight. Aldora tended the grounds with strictest diligence. She lavished her attention upon her flowers as though they were her children. Often she could be found instructing one of the servants to trim this or that, while she plucked and planted alongside. Mia thought her mother's talent amazing, for they always had the most beautiful gardens of anyone in Philadelphia. Thick lilac bushes lined the boundaries between the Stanley and Wilson houses, but their blossoms were long since past. Farther in the garden, a variety of flowering trees offered a canopy of shade during warm summer days. Of everything here, Mia thought the lilacs to be her favorites. She'd loved them since she'd been a small child. The scent always reminded her of pleasant days spent playing in the garden with her sisters, or of sitting and listening to her father read on lazy afternoons. Of course, they also reminded her of Garrett. Garrett Wilson was the son of her father's partner, George Wilson. They owned the property next to the Stanleys, and had been an institution in their family for as long as Mia had memories. Garrett, some 8 years her senior, had been a faithful companion to Mia off and on throughout her life. He was the brother she'd never had, the good friend who would always listen to her troubles, the only man she trusted besides her father. In early years, Mrs. Wilson had often come to share tea in the Stanley gardens. In turn, the Stanley women would enjoy pleasant respites at the Wilson estate. The two older women found great solace in each other's company. Both had lost young sons to different diseases, and now doted upon their remaining children. In later years, when home from school, Garrett would sometimes accompany his mother to the Stanley garden, sharing tea with Mia and her mother and 2 sisters. After his mother had passed away, and Garrett was busy working for his father,